Hoskins, 105. Kingery, 187. Third base, center field. Edman, 157. Second and third base. Chavis, 263. Why you make this list? Goldschmidt, 59. Can't wait for that feedback. Andujar, Andujar, 249. Gurriel, 129. Sano, 129. Justin Tucker, 150. Renato Nunez, 283. Edwin Encarnacion, 161. Our third 12 at the corner. I'm going to go over tonight, guys. I know I only got 10 minutes left. Stay with me. I want to talk about the middle because we're using this to holistically capture what we want to capture when we're prepping for our draft. I will use this document to draft my teams. No shit. Escobar, number 109. Here's my point. Are we undervaluing Eduardo Escobar? 109. Am I undervaluing him? He's areas he's in my last 12 in this category. He's eligible at second. He's eligible at third. He had 35 homers with 94 runs and 118 RBIs. He hit 269. Now, let's take this into account. What do all of these players have in common? Eduardo Escobar, Ketel Marte, Carson Kelly, Nick Ahmad, and Christian Walker. They all had kind of weird breakout years last year, didn't they? Well, when you listen to some of the Diamondbacks chatter and you read some, what it is this Joe Mather guy. And all of these guys had really good years last year, and they kind of came out of nowhere. Maybe outside of Marte. Marte is probably on a pretty good upward ascent aside from that. But the rest of those guys were kind of throwaways. Kelly, Escobar, Walker, Ahmed. All had career years last year. So, this Joe Mather guy, I really... my point of this. I like Escobar at 109. He has potential to be even better this year in his second year with this new learning crew. It's the Johnny Gomes and Joe Mather. There's like three of them that really have kind of, the players have taken to. And it's exciting for guys like Starling Marte to see how it works with him. But again, I think it's repeatable is my point with Escobar. Rhys Hoskins at 105, I think is sneaky value. 29 homers, 86 runs, and 85 RBIs. He certainly has a ton of talent. I could very easily see him going into that elite category in all of three of those. He's always going to be kind of an average suck. But home runs, runs, and RBIs, he could contribute. The next guy, we're taking an 80-point ADP drop. And these next two guys I actually want to compare. Kingery and Edman. The difference, about 30 points in ADP. Kingery's at 187, Edman is at 157. But when you look at the numbers, aside from average, Edman had a 305, where Kingery had a 258. They're really comparable. Both of them had 15 stolen bases. Now, I know Kingery played longer than what Edman did last year, so it needs to be taken into reference, but it gives you a pretty good gauge of what we're talking about. 19-11, Kingery leads in homers. 64-59, he leads in runs. 55-36, he leads in RBIs. I know Edman didn't play nearly as long last year. I think Edman is a real value. But we can't forget Kingery's prospect status, if you will. And he didn't play a full year either. Just to be clear, he missed about a month. So 19 homers, 15 stolen bases out of Kingery. I really do believe that you could see 30 and 20 pretty easily. That gives him 2 green, 64 runs, 55 RBIs. Again, he has everyday secure playing time. I really like Kingery. I also really like Edman. I want to move on to more middle infielders, but I want to talk holistically for a second. Want to get your guys, which of the buckets are better? Who do you think is the better talent pool? The corner infielders or the middle infielders? I just want to get your feedback on that. There's a lot of talent in both places, but it looks different. And that's what I want to draw to. What do you mean it looks different, Chappy? Listen to Chap's Fantasy Chat on the Lenny Melnick Fantasy Sports Network. Drinking Russell's Reserve tonight, which is a wild turkey product. And honestly, it got packed away in my move. And I was looking for it. Not frantically. But I really like it. And my wife found it for me. So I just want to take a second. Pause as we go into this middle infield discussion. And enjoy some Russell's Reserve. Wild Turkey is strong. But this is pretty smooth as well. Cheers, guys. What am I talking about? How are these categories different? Which is better? Which is stronger? Middle or corner? Just what's your guys' overall take? Which players do you covet more? The corners or the middles? Let's talk about it. Let's talk like I did with the corners. Breaking it off into the green, yellow, red status. How many players at the middle infield position had 30 homers? How many had 20? Dave, Russell's Reserve is really smooth. It has a kick, but it's really smooth. I'm not a big Wild Turkey fan either. This is like really good stuff. So I think you would like it. If you can stomach whiskey. My wife can't stomach whiskey at all. I don't even try and ask her to try it anymore. If you can stomach whiskey, I really enjoy it. It's smooth. 12 middle infielders had 30 homers plus last year. Again, comparison's sake, 24 corner infielders had 30 plus to 12. There's a lot of yellow though. So you get that next tier of power, right? That 20 to 30 power. 18 of these players in the middle infield had 20 to 30 plus homers. Runs, 11. 11 had 100 plus runs. compared to 13 yellows from 80 to 100. 75 to 100. Trivia question. How many middle infielders had 100 RBIs last year? Let's talk about stolen bases. 8. Here's where you get your value. This is the point of this exercise. You get your stolen bases from your middle infield. If you get a stolen base guy from your middle infield, it doesn't put a drag on what you have to do in the outfield. As I said, there was one corner infielder that had 20 plus stolen bases. There are 8 that have 20 plus stolen bases in the middle infield. It's a big difference. 4. The answer is 4. 4 players had 100 ribbies in the middle infield. It's not a lot. So, what are you looking for? You're looking for green stolen bases and green ribbies. When you look at it holistically, right? If you can steal a lot of bases and you can drive the runs in, that's who you want. They're not out there. So what you find yourself doing is looking for the yellows. So let's talk about these guys. I'm going to give you guys a half hour because I love doing this. But after a while, this starts to kick in and I have to go to the bathroom. So, you know how that goes. Kevin, happy birthday. I'm going to keep saying it. Thanks for coming, brother. Who's the number 1 shortstop? Middle infielder. I think it's pretty clear. It's Lindor. 3 of the 4 categories, he's in green. 32 homers, 101 runs, 22 stolen bases, and a 284 average. All green. First round pick, deservedly so. 74 RBIs. He's never going to be green on RBIs. But that's okay because he's getting it for you elsewhere. Number 2 with an ADP of 12.6 is Trey Turner. 35 stolen bases and a 298 average is his draw. Trevor Story, 11.6, 35 homers, 111 runs, 23 stolen bases, and 294. I was listening to some podcast today, and they were comparing Trey Turner and Trevor Story. And they were really not giving Story enough credit for those 22 stolen bases. Yes, he's pretty close to a complete player, right? I've given Story a hard time in the past. And even though I think the 11.6 is a touch high, I think he's good value there. 35 homers is pretty close to elite. It's not elite, but it's close. I mean, it's in the green, but, you know, anyway, I'm nitpicking, I know, but, you know, when you really look to the cream of the crop of these guys, 40 is what you're really striving for in the power numbers. But Turner is a pretty well-rounded player. 85 RBIs. Potential to really, truly be a 5 green guy. So, maybe 11.6 is right. Maybe I really like Trevor Story, I guess is what I'm saying. When you look at these and you break it down and you just look at the numbers, you take the names away. Turner could be, Story could be all 5 player categories a green contributor, which is important. Not many players, nobody else on this list is doing that. Gleyber Torres, Alex Bregman. I have Torres in front of Bregman. I just think maybe Bregman comes out looking great. Maybe he's able to withstand the pressure of being constantly booed, constantly on